Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Wild Buster. My name is Wilfred, and in this episode I would like to talk a little bit about whether or not you should consider playing this game right now, because I've got some of you who are very eager to give it a try and been asking me, hey, do you really recommend this or not? Well, my wife and I have been playing it together, and by the way, this is the footage we have recorded last night. We have a lot of fun, definitely, and we have spent about 8 hours of playtime. Still early stage, so I have not really got an idea of what the end game will be like, but I've got some idea how this game is like from my first impression point of view. So I thought I'd share my view with you on some of the good things that we found, some of the things that may be a little bit of concern right now, so as to give this quick review, a very balanced kind of like opinion on that. Alright, so now, what is Wild Buster? Well, it is a sci-fi hack and slash game. There aren't really a lot of sci-fi kind of like hack and slash. I know Warhammer has another one, but I think the last one I played was probably the Hellgate London. Not necessarily the best ARPG. It's also by Mr. Brevet. But definitely is one of the ARPG of the founder's memory I have, besides Marvel Heroes, of course. That is the Hellgate London. So, you know, I think sci-fi hack and slash game has a special place in some of our hearts. We kind of like the futuristic feel of it. So in this game there are two factions, the Guardians and as well as the Abandoned, which is what my wife and I are playing right now. The Abandoned, I believe, is half human, half machine-ish kind of thing. So or getting some mutation here and there. So these are the Abandoned. And it's kind of like there's a sci-fi feel to it, and also, I mean, it is a very ARPG feel to it as well. Those of you who have played Marvel Heroes, I think you are at home here. As you see here, I mean, all this stuff, the graphic-wise, I mean, even the menu items are very much reminds, at least myself, of the Marvel Heroes. So that is number one, which is sci-fi kind of like hack and slash. Another thing is that there are quite a number of heroes. At launch is 12 heroes, so 6 heroes on the Guardian side and 6 heroes on the Abandoned side. I believe that they have planned to expand that roster to 24. I'm not quite sure about the timeline, don't ask me that yet, but it is somewhat going to be like the Marvel Heroes of direction, whereby they would, I believe they would be continuing to develop heroes. I have not played that many heroes so far, so I've tried this one is called the Undertaker. My wife is playing the Vanguard Blade, which is also what I have played. So hers is very much a melee DPS slash tankish kind of like character. For me, it's very much like a DPS kind of like a character with a bit of crowd control here and there, like fear, like silence, and so on. My character also can do life leech, as well as my wife's one can do invincible kind of buff. So there are quite a number of heroes here. From what I've seen, they do play somewhat differently. Within the hero himself or herself, I don't think it is as many build variety as the Marvel Heroes per se. But having said that, I mean, if you play Marvel Heroes, you probably realize that there's only 1 or 2 builds that are really viable and what you'll be playing anyway. So that is yet another plus points that we have found. Need not to say, it's a very Marvel Heroes kind of vibe to it. Why? Because it is rather casual. I mean, I think from a leveling experience point of view, it is probably harder than Marvel Heroes, but it's not as inaccessible like games such as Path of Exile that I find is one of the best ARPG we have today. But it is not everybody's cup of tea, because it is really hard to pick up. This game, man, I mean, if you are playing Marvel Heroes, all these like cooldown reduction, some of these stats and so on. It's rather easy. Dodging here and there is rather easy as well. So it is a very, very casual game, yet it is not that trivial. Some of them could have quite a dicey moment if you don't time your ultimate like this one correctly. It could be rather long fights as well. So it's a little bit of like excitement there, even for the casual player. So my wife and I, need not to say, enjoy it a lot. This game also do not lag for us, which is kind of unusual for a US based ARPG, because I've played Marvel Heroes. I mean, even for Marvel Heroes, the latency was about maybe 400-500 milliseconds. And sometimes when it comes to dodging things like this, man, there's no chance. I mean, when I want to dodge, I'm already getting hit after I dodge it. But so far, experience with Wild Buster, man, I mean, it's very smooth, very fluid. I have no issue dodging anything. It's very articulated. It is almost as good as Path of Exile for me, because Path of Exile, my latency is below 20 milliseconds. They have a gateway in Singapore, so I'm really happy that it doesn't lag at all for us so far. Yeah, so that is one plus point. Even when we group up as well, I mean, this is a group environment. Yeah, no lag. I mean, very, very, very smooth and very fluid. So that's another plus point in terms of the first impression wise. There are actually quite a number of like a huge improvement against Marvel Heroes. Now, don't get me wrong, there are many things that Marvel Heroes as a game that has been in development, like that was in development for like 3 or 4 years. They have a lot of very established gameplay mechanism, which Wild Buster is still not quite there yet. I mean, that one I'm pretty sure some of you who join the game may immediately spot those items. But there are some really, really huge improvements. It's as though that the developer has been hearing us complaining or feedback in Marvel Heroes on things that we really wish something could have happened, but never happened that way. So first of all, it's a group bonus. I can't say, I can't say how much I'm happy about seeing this, because my wife and I play the Diablo 3 all the time, with our friends. And the more you grow up, the better the loot is, the better the XP gain is. I mean, that is just the fundamental of like incentivized grouping. If you play Marvel Heroes, you probably remember that it doesn't really encourage grouping. In fact, it kind of discourages grouping. When you group, there's a lot of like people have to go different places for their mission, and they have to drop the group sometime. And while in the petrol zone, you have to run to a terminal to do up some buff, and stuff like that, kill some bosses. But this game, when you group, you get a lot of like a good advantage. There are group bonus on a lot of things. So yeah, I mean, it's something that I enjoy. And by the way, this clip is one that I'm soloing this boss. So I'm mixing a little bit of my gameplay plus my wife one as well. Okay, so another thing is that by now you probably have noticed that the bosses and the elite, means that the enemy, are actually very big. And hang on, I got a little bit distracted because actually this is a group play video, because I thought I did something else just now. Anyhow, the size of the bosses are very big. You can clearly see what happened. Like he's going to kick something, right? So if you play Marvel Heroes last time in the past, when you try to take down Kirigi or Curse or whatever it is, you can't see, what the boss is doing at all. Every time you do, it's just like everything you do is just like just do it on blind. Like you can't really see what happened. You just go in and wish for the best that you can still survive through it. But you look at all these, even these are not bosses. These are just elites, right? And you can see clearly that he's opening the fire on in front of you. You can dodge nicely. This is beautiful gameplay. It's something that I've been telling that the Gazillion last time, to just make the bosses bigger, although it sometimes may not make sense. But it's just so much more pleasurable to see what the enemies are doing. So that is something that I really appreciate of this game. Looting looting wise is like fantastic. I think if you remember back in the Marvel Heroes days, you end up have a lot of loot on the floor and you spend a lot of time picking things up, you know, and then after that you try to open the chest only to receive another chest that you have to open up and pick up something, you know, inside. So it's very clunky and you spend a lot of time in managing inventory as a mini game. This one you can see you have received so and so, whatever it is. It's auto looting. It's basically the loot drops and go automatically into your bag. I mean, that is unheard of. I play quite a lot of ARPG. None of them actually you know, have that kind of like a functionality that allow us to like, you know, loot without clicking onto the loot. And after that, after the boss fight, then I usually spend like maybe like half a minute or what going through the loot, even less than that, and equipping them. And after that, you know, when I'm in town, I disassemble them, all of them at one shot. So it is very, very, very nice, the whole looting system wise. I mean, it's just very pleasant. The only thing I don't really like is the mining part of it, because it does break the momentum, but that's the video for another day. Next is that it's not a free-to-play game, so some actually wanted this to be a free-to-play. I understand why, because I think as a free-to-play game, it's more accessible. Right? If you look at Closer, which the game that I play as well, is a free-to-play game. I don't think it's as engaging or fun as Wild Buster. But if you look at Steam chart, they have thousands over players, even more than Marvel Heroes, right? Then you wonder why. Well, because it's free to play, and when it comes to free to play, a lot of people would want to play it, and that is just, you know, the reality of business. But whether people will stay on, is it a sustainable kind of business? There is another story of it. So I feel that Wild Buster is a buy-to-play game, so I'm not really worried about, you know, having to deal with all the microtransactions and the you know, now it's just a DLC. And yeah, so I think from that aspect, I kind of like really appreciate the direction of where this thing is going. Now I do not know whether in the future there will be other DLC for cosmetic or not, but I think they said in their, you know, Steam saying that they would not be selling things for power. I think that's the most important thing. I mean, you know, all the booster and power, or, you know, loot chests, I mean, the ultimate tokens and whatnot, I think ultimately it just killed the game, or even the Omega Prestige last time, that ultimately really literally killed the game. So yeah, I mean, that's another good thing for me. And I mean, as you can see, all these clips that I've been showing you, you know, the bosses are somehow doing different things, each of them. It's a lot of action. You have to actively dodge or use ability that has some mobility to it, and to time your ultimate correctly, strategically position yourself, and probably need a little bit of teamwork here and there to take out some traps, mob and stuff like that, dodge some bullet here and there like what I'm doing here. And yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot of, you know, action going on. Is you know, when Marvel Heroes, because of the ever says that they want to, oh, by the way, this fight is my favorite, man. There's a lot of beams around, like the remind me of Path of Exile as well. So, you know, if you go back to the whole, like, you know, Marvel Heroes kind of like, you know, gameplay last time, they say the biggest update ever is to slow people down so that they can appreciate boss fight. But then, you know, to make that work, you have to make boss fight this much interesting, right? This much exciting. And by the way, I mean, you know, unlike Marvel Heroes, when you get defeated inside, you know, you can't, well, there's no way, well, there are ways to come back up again. For those of you who play the Mute Legion, probably you know that when you get defeated, you have to use some, like an item to get revived, and those items you would need to pay for it in games like Mute Legend. But I think this game has something similar as well, and I'll talk a little bit about the minuses. But you know, but there are ways to mitigate that as well, because before you enter a dungeon, or see a boss, there's actually an NPC offering you free services of various kind of like gold. You could actually get some buff to help you deal with the boss. But of course, the higher the buff, the more expensive it is. So you could actually take some risk and say, I do not want to spend the gold, but I want to, like, you know, see whether I can defeat it or not. Or you say that, well, you know, it's getting really hard, I need to spend some gold and just get a smooth riding kind of like experience. And you can do that too. Right. So now these are some of the you know, good things that I've observed while playing this game for 8 hours with my wife. But there are of course some kind of like concerns as well. I'd like to be very open with you on some of these concerns. This is an early access game. It means that it's not finished, and it is not finished. There are still some spelling mistake here and there. The company is from Korea, South Korea, and I think they are trying to translate and localize this game to the Western market as well. So I mean, you know, do bear that in mind, early access. But having said that, I mean, I like this game so much so that I've actually bought my wife the copy as well. Although my copy is a review copy, but I did spend the money. But I mean, do bear that in mind. And right now it's a region lock, and I'm a little bit concerned in some sense because it's never quite good to lock a game against a region. But you could actually buy the DLC. Like right now, you know, in my country, you can buy the DLC for less than $20, and you get the Ultimate Edition anyway. You don't have to be, you know, have to be able to see the game to buy the game, right? Because the DLC are actually global. Now, I have no idea why they do that, stuff like that. But I think it is like some of the Korean game, like Katika. I don't know whether you've heard of that or not. Or Katari, I can't remember how to pronounce it. But when they first launched, also it's region lock, but now it's actually global as well. So I don't know, maybe in time to come, this game will be open to global. But it could also be like Black Desert Online as well, which still not being global, and they're trying to sell the Southeast Asia edition. So I don't know, we'll see how that goes. Company profile is a bit unknown right now. I do not know how well or how well funded they are to continue developing the game. So I really don't know. We are just, I don't know, man. I mean, there are some risks there, of course. Just take that into consideration. It seems to me that they're adapting the free-to-play into a buy-to-play. I think they have done a better job than the Guardians of the Ember, which is also by the same publisher, by the way, because that game is a lot of funny stuff that should have been like gotten rid of as a buy-to-play game, but it's still in the game itself. But I mean, you know, just I do not know how well it's going to scale up in the how is it going to be like in the end game without the buying component to it. Is it still fun? Because sometimes a free-to-play game is designed with the end game in mind that you have to spend money, and now that it is not a free-to-play game, I do not know how that turned out. I'm not quite sure whether this game is soloable or not, because I think as a solo, it can be rather hard. And finding group is not easy in this game as well right now, because there aren't really a lot of people playing, so take that in mind as well. Story mode is very non-existent. We just skip through a dialogue. They say they will add the voiceover. I personally prefer them to retain the Korean voiceover, like Closers, which I enjoy listening and reading the subtitle, like watching a K-drama. But you know, I think they are trying to add the voiceover to things, and I don't know. I mean, so far I haven't really been reading the story because it's just too many words. I'm not interested to read it. So, but I mean, nowadays the new ARPG, the story just really not there. So it is not going to be one that is as engaging as Marvel Heroes. I mean, you know, yeah, man, this boss is so hard. By the way, I'm still having nightmare over this. There are some features that really need to improve, such as the friend list, which I also feedback to the developer directly. Right now, it is like the vanilla World of Warcraft. You have to add friend. When your friend is online, add them as your friend list, and then you have to add them per character as well, because it's not account based. By the way, this boss is so wide, the AoE. What can you do, man? Seriously. Yeah, so some of the feedback that I have, and also the group UI is so confusing. At one point I thought I was soloing because I see, you know, only one character on the left hand side of the screen, but actually my wife is there. And in other ARPG, actually you should see yourself as one of the party on top as well, which you don't see here. So I always get confused when I try to narrate the video and so on. And And yeah, I mean, it's just a very short recap of the how I feel about the game so far. I mean, there are quite a lot of promises I see as well, because I think the crafting is more varied. I think there's more reason to play for the gold, and also after your level cap, I think you could actually further play your hero and gain some other kind of like perk as well. I will have to experience it and tell you a little bit more later on. There's a reputation system as well, which I find it quite interesting, because all the NPC that you work with and so on, you can actually gain reputation, and you can like have some kind of like a perk to it that you can instantly use or do. So yeah, that is also nice. I think they promised PvP. My only concern is man, I mean, I don't really see anybody online, so I don't know how PvP is going to turn out to be. There are raid as well. Again, I just don't know how things is going to turn out with the raid. Or maybe I'm not at end game yet. Maybe a lot of people are already end game. Not quite sure. Yeah, just well, there will be a player housing as well. I think they promised, which is not new to nowadays the Korean ARPGs. If you look at Guardians of Ember, there's player housing. I believe New Legend has it as well. So yeah, it'll be quite interesting. I mean, I'm not really that much a big fan about players housing these days. I can live with or without, but yeah, that's it. And that is the one that I can heal myself. Did I heal myself? Yeah, I heal myself and get a buff. You can see the green buff here. And this is the part when I would go through the loot. As you can see, it's rather straightforward. It's just like look through the item one by one and see which one I should be equipping. And I was wondering, yeah, I should equip that one as well. But then, because there's some set bonus that I need to consider as well, so I was thinking a little bit out loud, see whether I should be doing it. But by and large, I mean, with the color system and the tagging system, actually it's rather easy to read through the items and see which one to keep, which one to not keep. And after that, the rest of it I can just disassemble them, yeah, and that's it. And next bit is the final boss, and I hope that it will be an interesting wrapping up of the game to give showcase to you what it is going to be like. And man, I mean, it's a very exciting thing. I mean, my wife been asking me to play this game, and that is very, very encouraging, because she often don't. Man, this boss looks really disgusting. Me and my wife was just looking at it, and we were like, man, that looks weird stuff, but it's just one of those sci-fi stuff. So going in, and I've got my ultimate ready. I dash in and then do an ultimate. I think, yep, just burn like maybe 10% of the boss health, and I'm trying to spread the damage over time. The purple debuff as well. Trying to dodge a little bit here and there. Trying to keep my eyes peeled. Now things look too easy. I was just waiting for the big thing, like like this one here. There's a lot of like lightning damage, and I'm trying to clear off all the mobs while my wife is tanking the boss, which is great. Spread the buff as well. I mean, this boss seems alright, not as hard as the other one that keep beaming you everywhere. So yeah, so I think soon we shall be able to get it sorted. And yeah, I mean, it's not. And after that, I pop my ultimate here, and with that said, I think we shall be pretty close to winning it. But we still, yeah, that's it. And after that, you complete the mission, you go back to town, you turn in, and after that, the more people would like to talk to you, more areas in the hub are open, and yeah, that's basically how we play the game. Character-wise, I mean, animation is fine, the artwork is fine, so very much we enjoy what we are seeing right now. Hope you enjoyed this series, and hope to share more with you on WildBuster. Any questions, just drop me in the comment box below. See you next time. Goodbye.